Hi everyone, hope you've had a great week so far. My name is Benis Abu-Beidu. In News Generation today, do you owe fees? School fees? How do your teachers treat you? We will share the ordeal of a class 5 pupil with you, but there's also some good news for him. Head of designer coffins? And a 3-year-old tells us why she's protesting on social media. You're watching News Generation. You can find us online on Facebook, search News Generation GH in your search box, and on Twitter at NewsGenGH. How would you feel if your teachers refused to help you in school because you owe the school? Benedict Dubate and his little brother were asked to stay home after he reported to his mother that he was not getting the needed attention from his teachers at school, all because of unpaid school fees. He was made to drop out of school because of this. But after a Joy News report, Benedict has been offered support to get back to school.
The Constitution of Ghana makes education free and compulsory, but many children of school-going age find themselves out of school, mostly due to economic situations or financial hardships being encountered by their parents. Lawyer Francis Sosu was reacting to the story of a 12-year-old who is stuck at home and busy with his mother's oyster business along with his 3 siblings instead of going to school.
It's not a difficult thing to do for me because they have taught me and I knew it. It's because the fire and the way you have been carrying it from the fire, that is just the reason why. I can't do it for a long time.
The boy, Benedict, complained to his mother that his work at school receives no attention from his teacher. His mother asked him to stay at home.
If I do exercise class test, my teacher said, my parents think, did my parents think they are full so that they will be teaching me and my parents will not pay them the fees, so they refuse to mark my work. And when I come and report to my mother said I should not go to the school again, so he will pretend me to another school.
At home, he and his siblings are central to their mother's oyster business, which rakes in a substantial amount of money. But 2 of them are out of school because of money.
Like I'm in the government school, like I've been 4, but when I went to high class, when I must go to class 2, they sent me to class 1, so they said there's no chair in class 2 for me to sit. So they sent me to class 1. And now if I go to the government school, I'll be in Form 1.
His big brother tells Joy News they seldom do the oyster business except when their mother is not available. But it appears she is unavailable almost all week.
If your mother is not around 4 days in a week, and that is when you don't go to school, then it means that you don't go to school at all?
No, unless we have oyster to do.
Head teacher of First Class Academy, where they attend, confirms that the parents have not shown enough commitment to educate their children because they could still be in school with just a negotiation.
We are private and we depend on the fees to run our institution. We cannot say that the parents are really interested in paying our money to us. He comes to the school, we threaten them and say we are going to sack, but we have never sacked.
Throughout our visit, their mother was unavailable. An aunt, however, told us she has made efforts to get the parent to send them back to school, but all proved futile. She also debunks the notion the children are being overworked.
They are not being overworked. My children go to school, but we have no help, and so they have to help us to take care of them.
Lawyer Francis Sosu says engaging in chores to help parents is not wrong if it does not take precedence over education. In a case such as this, he says the Constitution empowers any willing individual to press charges against the parent.
You read Section 8 of the Children's Act. It says that no person shall deprive a child access to education.
And if you do, what is the exactly?
If you do, it is not criminal for you to do so, because our laws have not criminalized those things.
Okay.
But it would, it would entitle the child to an action against you. If anybody, will stand in either
For
in
the
local
child.
parentis or as a next friend of the child to take you to court, you can have an action against you. And in any event, it can, in appropriate circumstance, ground a criminal conviction, particularly when the deprivation leads to some psychological and emotional abuse. Then it can become domestic violence. And under the Domestic Violence Act, that child can, secure criminal conviction, against the mother.
But such court actions seldom happen in Ghana.
There should be some penalty that could make people feel that, look, the state is now serious. If we are supposed to take our children to school and we refuse to take them to school, we can be fined by the state. Maybe we may not be put in prison, but we can be fined. And maybe even in appropriate circumstance, there could be some, it could even be a misdemeanor.
Lawyers also challenges the social welfare and related agencies in the Adan district to be proactive in protecting children like Benedict. He also throws a word of caution to all parents to be mindful of such possible criminal charges for not taking their children to school. Eyes Right is a program aimed at educating the public about their rights and responsibilities as enshrined in Ghana's constitution and other conventions that the country signs on to.
Well, Benedict and his brother have received help from a very, very kind person, and we'll be bringing you a sequel of that story in our next episode. 75,000 ghost names have been removed from the National Service Scheme payroll. This means the nation has been saved 26.5 million Ghana cedis. A massive financial scandal hit the NSS last year and led to the arrest of the then Executive Director Alhaji Alhassan Mohammed Imoro and a host of other officers. On WhatsApp today, we have been asking you whether this is a significant step in fighting corruption.
Opinion: the clearance of the 7,000 names from the payroll of the NSS is a good step towards ending corruption, but it's a good step towards ending corruption in the NSS itself. Generally, it won't make much of a difference because corruption occurs everywhere. As to the amount of money that was gotten through the clearance of the names, that is very good because the money can be used for other developmental projects such as the creation of recreational facilities, infrastructural facilities, and social amenities.
I personally believe it's a good step towards ending corruption in the NSS, and also it's beneficial because the money that has been obtained can be used in the development process of the nation. However, we can't be certain of whether corruption won't occur again in the NSS because we are not aware of whether a scandal like this will occur again.
I think it's a good step in corruption in the NSS, but also it does not really affect the government because the NSS, they'll be able to clear the names and people in the NSS may not want to do that again. But in the government, people still are doing the bad things that they are not supposed to be doing, and it's not really improving the corruption in the government. But also on the help in the government side, the money that they acquired from the 7,500 people can be used to create social amenities and infrastructural facilities that will help better the government.
This was a good achievement in the steps of eliminating corruption. But as the saying goes, procrastination is a thief of time. The government should step up in their efforts to ensure that corruption is wiped out so that Africa will not be seen as a backward in a developing world. So in the future, the next generation will be able to benefit, and when they realize that steps were taken to eliminate corruption, they'll be happy.
The ghost names being cleared from the NSS payroll can be agreed to be disagreed. I say so because one may say yes, it's good. It's good because when you clear the number of people from the payroll list, it may save some amount of money, and that money can be used to construct social amenities, infrastructural facilities, recreational facilities, which Ghana lacks in one part or the other. And also it can be disagreed because one may not know whether all the names have been cleared off the list or not, and whether such a situation may crop up again in the NSS.
I think the question that the NSS should be asking themselves is whether they are sure that all the names have been cleared. Also, if they have taken the correct measures to ensure that it never happens again.
Those were some views on WhatsApp. Democracy is a form of governance in which power is given to the people and exercised directly by them or through election. But is democracy the best form of government or governance? How can the world respond to challenges arising out of democracy? Adelaide had a discussion with some pupils of Christ the King International School about democracy.
U.S. President Abraham Lincoln defined democracy as government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But is that what we see now in the world? Well, I can't answer all that. So I have some people from Christ the King International School and we'll answer all these questions. Do you think democracy can really work?
It can work depending on how it's done, because not all the things people say are right. They may make mistakes, and in the end the people in authority may listen to them and make those same mistakes. So I believe that they have to choose the right ones, consult people so that they can agree, so that if there's a mistake we can all be blamed for it.
Looking at what we are seeing now on the African continent, do you think religion or the African leaders are reinventing democracy?
I believe that it's very prominent in Africa because it seems like today they are trying to dissolve the idea of autocracy into the democratic view. So some people are not allowed to some fundamental rights. For example, freedom of religion. In some countries, they are being forced or compelled to be in a particular religion, even though their hearts tell them not to be. So I think Africa has somewhat reinvented the idea of democracy.
Do you think religion is trying to take out, or the religious bodies in Africa are trying to take out the democracy that we have?
Religious bodies do not realize that they are trying to push democracy out of the way, because they believe that what their thoughts and their origin and everything, they believe that that is right, and they don't think that it's affecting democracy, but rather they are pushing autocracy into the system.
I agree with what you said. I believe that they don't know, they are not aware of the effects and what they are doing. So I think that we as a people should at least try to communicate with them, tell them what we think. And for example, in certain communities, the leader of the community is trying to force everyone to be maybe a Christian or a Muslim, but I don't believe it's right. We should all have choices. So if the leader does not agree with what we have to say, then he or she can be,
So what about democracy and technology, like the social medias that we have? What do you think about that?
I think that social media can promote democracy, and it can also bring it down because of freedom of speech. People think that whatever they say on social media is right. They insult other people, but they also have to remember that you have other people have freedoms, they have rights. As a citizen, you are supposed to treat every other citizen with respect, and you are not supposed to infringe on their dignity. You are not supposed to bring their dignity down.
Do you think democracy is being abused?
People feel like because democracy is defined as a free man's land, they think they have the platform to do whatever they want. But I believe that there should be a level of discipline so that they can control what they do not say to the public and everyone.
I think that democracy is being abused because people misuse it. They just, as she said, do whatever they want. And this could lead to people actually thinking of allowing other ways or methods of ruling a country. So we at least have to know how to use it.
there should be discipline, as she said.
Democracy is being abused because people write in newspapers, talk on television and radio anyhow. And I believe when you say something that is that degrades somebody, the person will take it to heart. Other people may feel that he said something wrong, and it may lead to conflict in the society.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for your views and ideas. Okay, so you can send us your comments on our Facebook page. It's Facebook.com/News Generation GH, and you can also follow us on Twitter @NewsGenGH.
Well, we really love to hear your comments about what you think about democracy. Now, Ghana's designer coffins have been showcased around the world, drawing attention to innovative craftsmanship. One master designer and craftsman is Samuel Ode Afote. He is a maker of coffins. This may sound scary, but the unusual coffins are made to look like everyday items, and you would probably not even know they are coffins. Samuel explains his work to News Generation.
I have with me here Mr. Samuel Ode Afote. He's the person in charge of the fancy coffins that are being made here in Nungwa. So, Mr. Samuel Afote, you're welcome to News Generation.
Thank you.
Okay, first we want you to tell us, how did this thing started?
I learned this work from my father, and my father also learned it from Teshin Kanikwe before bringing it to Nungwa here. So I started this work when I was very young.
How old were you when you started this?
By then I was in class 2.
Like
My age was 8 years. 8 years I can remember. But in those days, not introduce myself into this work so much. But sometimes I'll come to the shop. Sometimes I'll go and play football. My mind wasn't on this work as usual. What I intend to do was artwork. I want to be an artist. But my schooling just changed me into this work. My father introduced to carpentry school. So doing the carpentry course, I decided then I should continue to do this work than to transfer into the artist work.
This is Teshi, a suburb of Accra, an area well known for creativity and extraordinary coffin designs. They are the fancy coffins and are custom made, so they are quite expensive. The designs are diverse and are based on or related to the profession of the one who has died.
In Ghana here we know there's a different talent. Different talents in Ghana here, different talent in other countries. So we base on what we are doing to shape a coffin for you. For instance, you are a musician, we can just shape a microphone for you or a guitar for you. A driver, it may consist on what car you have been using. If trotro or self-man driving, then we shape this car for you.
A musician would have a specially made microphone or musical instrument. The craftsmen are naturally gifted and can make anything. Just name it and they will deliver it.
coffins are made for drivers, cobblers, teachers, carpenters, musicians, pilots, and all other professions, all from wood. People come from other countries and continents around the world to buy these coffins. So this is a coffin designed in the form of a Coca-Cola, and this coffin is also designed for a chainsaw operator. So well, as a journalist like me, I can get a coffin in the form of a pen, book, or a microphone. So which one of these do you prefer?
Very, very interesting story out there. We are not hoping Adelaide will die soon, so we don't really, want her to be talking about which coffin she wants. But let's hear your comments. Let's see them on our social media platforms. Let's now take a look at other stories which made headlines.
Controversial ex-HIV ambassador Joyce Mensah has parted with her lawyer after he publicly said she was suffering from trauma and depression. She says lawyer Kojo Kranting no longer represents her, alleging he's on an image recovery mission for the Ghana AIDS Commission. Mensah in December 2014 said she lied about her HIV status for years and had never tested positive, despite being an ambassador for the Ghana AIDS Commission and actively educating people around the world about living with HIV. Deputy Health Minister Victor Bampu says government will not shield persons involved in the suspected arson at the Central Medical Stores in Tema. The state lost medical supplies and equipment meant for distribution to regional health facilities nationwide when fire ravaged the facility, leaving nothing to be salvaged. It took fire personnel 4 days to completely bring the inferno under control. Government has estimated an amount of 237 Ghana million cedis was lost through the blaze. Black Stars coach Avram Grant says the team is focused on winning their next game against Algeria despite the shaky start at the 2015 AFCON tournament. The Black Stars lost their Group C opener 1-2 to Senegal in Mongomo, with the Terengana Lions coming from behind to seal the victory. Musa Sow scored the late winner in added time after Mame Biram Diop had cancelled out Andrea Yu's first half penalty for Ghana. The Black Stars coach is very optimistic about their chances of progressing to the next stage of the competition. 4 men are to appear before a judge in Paris on suspicion of supporting one of the gunmen behind the Islamist attacks in France that killed 17. The men, aged 22 to 28, are expected to be placed under formal investigation. They are suspected of having links to Amedi Koulibaly, the gunman who murdered 4 people at a Jewish supermarket and is believed to have shot a policewoman. The Malian grocery worker, who was hailed a hero for saving hostages' lives when an Islamist militant attacked a kosher supermarket in Paris, has been made a French citizen. Lassana Bathily, 24, was joined by French Interior Minister Bernard Cazeneuve and Prime Minister Manuel Valls in a packed naturalization ceremony. Bathily, who arrived in France from Mali in 2006 and received his working papers 5 years later, has been credited with saving many lives in the January 9th attack that killed 4 people at the kosher store in eastern Paris. AS Roma and Ivory Coast forward Gervinho saw red at the African Cup of Nations after he slapped Guinea forward Naby Keita. Guinea had taken a shock lead in the first half of the match, and Ivory Coast were desperately searching for an equalizer when he received his marching orders. In a seemingly unprovoked attack, Gervinho turned and slapped his opposition player, knocking him to the floor as he caught him. He has become the first player to be shown a straight red card at the ongoing 2015 AFCON in Equatorial Guinea.
That was News Round. Now, just about a month ago, a toddler started a protest on YouTube. The protest, titled Living Room Protest, has received 23,000 views on YouTube. But Zuri Chin, 3, is not your average toddler. So what's Zuri Chin's protest about? Let's find out in What's Trending.
This is Stacey Ann and Zuri, and we are in our living room.
Where is our living room? And we're just playing in the living room and talking about justice and no peace.
Yes, no justice, no peace.
The 3-year-old began making a short video series with the help of her mother. She talks about issues that have been troubling her. According to Zuri's mom, it all began when it rained one day and she couldn't find a sitter. Zuri was so disappointed, she told her mom she wanted to protest. Wanting to honor her daughter's request, Chin had another idea in mind. She decided to record videos of Zuri and put them online. Since then, the pair has created 3 videos.
No justice, no peace. Don't do it again.
Tell them why it is that you march when we go to march.
Because I want police to do the right thing.
Absolutely, we march because we want the police to do the right thing.
The most recent protest is led by Zuri, who explains how she doesn't appreciate strangers picking her up without her permission.
So don't pick me up without my permission, even if I'm a kid.
And I also want you to stop when I want you to come, and when you touch me, I will say yes.
Okay, so when you say yes, then it's okay to touch me.
Yeah.
But when you say no, it's
Mommy,
not okay.
Can I touch you?
Yes, you can touch me. Grand. Zuri, can I touch you?
Yes.
Absolutely. Tickle, 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 tickle. All right, well, that's our living room protest, all about touching and bodies and picking up and permission.
That was a very interesting one there on What's Trending. This is all for it for this particular episode. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Benes Abubedu. Stay safe. Bye.